teach how to teach and teach yourself learn as well. Here's telling the really teaching. The methods suit preschool children, learners of initial reading, school children reading and mediation, learners interested in language, adults with reading, spelling, context. And for those of primary school, there is a 10% improvement in competence in one term with an assignment. For that term, they will give the READucate lesson to everybody right through the school. It changes people jumping. I want to just get to our latest letter. The Department of Correctional Services in their annual report in show form 5 said the many advantages of the project include building the morale of offenders and inculcating self-respect, improvement of the offenders' own reading and study skills, which resulted in them improving relationships with their families, instilling a culture of learning, promoting eagerness to help fellow inmates, providing the means for self-sustainability, and the project was not only aimed in correctional centres. Some READucate instructors who started their own READucate centres in their communities. One of our guys, Ronald, is running a very successful centre in Soweto. He contributes toward their own financial independence. So, Julius, would you like to take over now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. We're very proud of Julius. He's one of our top READucators and has trained teachers and prisoners with great success. And that is Julius when I first met him. Okay. Shall I close? Well, I don't have to switch it. Oh, we'll just do that. Okay.
It was prior to the elections, and we were somewhere in the farms with some of my friends who worked for Metropolis, and we got involved with farmers. And during that time, we had guns with us, and one of our friends was trying to fight the owner of the farm, and things didn't went well, and we got arrested. And that's why I lost my job. But like I said, Edna came to Toronto prison. At that time, I was in the point of collapsing because I didn't even figure that I would end up in prison. And so I left my family, my children were still very young. But after I had learned the reading animal, and I saw a wonderful opportunity when I look at the prison community, I noticed that 80% of the inmates are totally illiterate. So I grabbed the opportunity and started implementing the program in prison. Actually, I had 12 inmates who went through the whole program. I realized that crime has 3 phases. It's emotional, verbal, and physical. So normally, physical is the one where you can stab anyone or can use any instrument. But mostly what happens inside the prison, there are gangsterism taking place. So people like myself were distancing themselves from this gangsterism. So there are 28 who normally, they call them 28. So they would make a number, and then every time, if they hear any information of any cell inmate who has money, they will do anything to frighten that guy and take the money away. There are the 26 who call themselves, if you want to escape in prison, you go to them, they will organize an escape. So the biggest challenge was that officials are also involved. And young boys who find themselves among the others change to be girls. So that was something that I need to do something about. So READucate helped a lot to change the behavioral thought patterns of many of the inmates that came into contact with me. One memory story that I could tell, there was this guy called Mashimbi Shangani, who came to my class totally illiterate. After the completion of the program, he started writing letters to Bona, this Bona magazine. And because that is a pen pal site, and he met this wonderful lady. And he came to me, Junior, said, met this lady, and we were exchanging letters. It was a wonderful thing. And I was keeping checking on what he's writing. So I was seeing that this guy was improving on a daily basis. And to make things so wonderful, this lady came to prison, and they exchanged their talks, and eventually when he was released, they got married. So this is how READucate, the impact of READucate. When I left Toronto prison to Kalinin, some of the inmates took transfer, they followed me. Because they saw that this is a wonderful program and there was no any chance. Because in prison, the officials do not push inmates to go for rehabilitation programs. It's up to them. So there are those who say, no, we don't want to do anything, we're criminals. When we go out of here, we're going to do more crime. So this is what is happening in prison. So when I was in Kalinin, the number grew bigger. We had a huge class in Kalinin of people, of inmates who wanted to do a READucate program, and it was a wonderful thing. Until I was eventually released in, I think in 2006. So I did, I was incarcerated for 15, I was sentenced for 15, but served only 7 years. But on my release, I continued to do the wonderful work with Edna Freinkel, because I couldn't go back to the South African Defence Force. I started my own organization called Muruma Creations. It's running in Tembisa. But I had a wonderful partnership with Edna, because I've been to various provinces. I've been to Kimberley, where I trained teachers. I had to Kalinin prison, I had to Tolopeli in Kimberley, where I trained almost 80 inmates. So what I realized is that whether it's teachers or principals, there is still a challenge on whether the people, when they were taught, were they, like Edna indicated, are they reading teachers? If you look at the students' paragraphs, just a single paragraph, you'll see that there are so many mistakes. When it comes to spelling, it's still a huge challenge. So that is the question that we're asking here. That when you do research, what are the learning barriers that you are picking from students? Doesn't matter whether it's at the university level or secondary or primary, but something is going wrong. So many students are dropping out, not necessarily because they don't know, but because either they don't understand the question, either they understand but they couldn't put it in writing. See, so those challenges need to be addressed. And until we address this challenge, this is our program, which I understand that there are so many other programs that could be brought on the ground and make a huge impact. But READucate has a good proven record that it can change the perception and the approach, like the reading animal, the attitude part. It's so wonderful. So from our side, the work that I'm doing, I'm passionate about it. I want to grow further. That's why I'm passionate about my community. That when I see people change, when I see people appreciate life, the human spirit, that's what keeps inspiring me to appreciate life. So thank you so much.
We're running very early. I can finish the presentation, but I wondered if you wouldn't each like like to ask one question that juniors or I will try and answer. Have any of you ever been into a prison? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. What was your reaction?
Well, just to contextualize, I went in with a psychologist, so I went to see people that were traumatized. But if you go back into the histories of the client, they really battled at school. And that obviously led to not going to school and getting in the wrong crowd and all sorts of things. And then interestingly enough, when you talk about the situation, it's very much what you've been talking about, you know, the context of prison. It's very accurate. And what I found is they desperately do want to get the education that was put on hold, and because they see the hope of an education when they are released. So I can fully identify with how important it is. But also the history tells you the story of their life, and that, you know, because of the context where they grew up, their schooling, you know, wasn't as good as it should have been, and it led to other things happening. Obviously it's a complex thing, but I do think the inability to understand what's going on in school lessons does lead to children saying, well, what's the point of going to school?
Yeah.
And so I really fully understand how beneficial it is. Yeah, so I just want to say it made a lot of sense to me hearing, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who else has been to prevent that?
I'd like to say that Edna doesn't believe in starting you soft. She starts you in the deep end. So the very first time